everyone. Welcome to week 3 of our Holiday Survival Challenge. Today we are going to talk about holiday survival and mindfulness. So how to be mindful through the holidays. Just checking in, how's everybody doing? I would love to get your comments, so chat me and let me know how it's going now that you're on week 3. For those of you that don't know me, I am Jennifer Seven. I am the owner of Seven Company Weight Loss and Wellness Center, and I've been helping people lose weight and maintain their weight for over the last 10 years. And I've been maintaining my own weight for the last 10 years. Some years better than others, but that is part of life and the challenges of weight loss. Over the past few years, I've decided to incorporate meditation and mindfulness into my weight loss coaching. And I've seen how it can positively impact our choices and our ability to lose and maintain. So I hope you're trying the weekly meditations because we found that they are powerful and they really can help with your mindset. So let's start with the definition of mindfulness. Mindfulness is actually the quality of being conscious or aware of something. It's a mental state achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment while calmly acknowledging and accepting one's feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensations, and it's used as a therapeutic technique. So that's the dictionary definition. In simpler terms, mindfulness is about focusing on the present moment, the right now. We spend so much of our time thinking about the past or worrying about the future that we aren't usually very present. So mindfulness is a technique to help you actually be in the moment. And there are numerous case studies that back up how this can help us in regards to how we look at food, how we eat food, and our weight. I have a study I want to share with you, a couple studies I want to share with you, but this one is from the Journal of Family Medicine and Community Health, and it was published in 2018. And researchers looked at how a 15-week weight loss program that included mindful eating strategies would impact both eating behavior and weight loss. A total of 64 individuals were divided into 2 groups, one that received the intervention and a control group that didn't. Subjects in the intervention group lost 6 times more weight than those in the control group. In addition, 98% of the mindful eating group reported that they continued to use the techniques at a 6-month follow-up. Raising their awareness of the food they eat is a powerful tool for behavior change. There was another study in 2016 of 194 obese adults, and it was published in the Journal of Obesity. And this study found that those who got mindfulness training along with diet and exercise guidelines had significant drops in fasting blood glucose and cholesterol levels compared with the group that only got diet and exercise guidelines. What they found was that the mindful eating group decreased their consumption of sweet foods during the intervention, and they were able to maintain those reductions even 6 months later. They believe the reduction in sweets was responsible for the health improvements, and that makes sense. If you're eating less sweets, you're lowering your blood sugar, and that's phenomenal. So what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is about paying attention to what you are doing in this instance, in this moment. And what we're going to talk about is paying attention to what you're eating. I've already talked a little bit about the science behind it. But let's talk about how you're eating your meal. Mindful eating basically boils down to just paying more attention to your hunger, to your cravings, to your food, and how your body feels before, during, and after you eat. during this holiday season, it can be very hectic, very stressful, and very emotional, and we can easily get sidetracked on our eating strategies. We can eat on the go where we're not paying attention to what we're eating because we're stressed and we've got so much to do. We eat too fast, and we might eat for comfort because we're feeling stressed, and we just like, well, let me just eat this, I'll feel better, or the holidays makes me sad, and that changes how we utilize our food. So mindfulness can really help you if you use some of the strategies. It's not only going to help you with your eating, but it can also help you with your family and your friends and how you interact. Because again, it's a stressful time of year. It's also the most edible time of year. So there's temptations everywhere, but it can get tense and stressful with family and friends. So using these techniques can work on multiple levels. So here's some tips and things I want you to try out. And I'm so happy to see some people joining us on the call. And there's Patricia and Janet. Hi, guys. So I want you to be thinking about this as we go through. When you sit down to your next meal, I want you to try some of these techniques. Okay, first off, I want you to tune in to your physical hunger. And this is really key to your mindful eating. Okay, you have to identify, am I even hungry? How hungry am I? So I want you to have a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being I'm not hungry at all, and 10 being I'm starving, I'm ravenous. And before you start eating, I want you to ask yourself, how hungry am I on a scale of 1 to 10? And then go ahead and start eating. So you've identified I'm starving, or I'm not very hungry, or I'm just moderately hungry. So you start eating, you have several bites, and then you ask yourself again, how hungry am I on a scale of 1 to 10? As the meal progresses, I want you to switch to assessing how hungry you are to how full you are on a scale of 1 to 10. So we were really hungry when we started the meal, and then as we eat, the hunger starts to reduce, and then we want to shift our attention to how full am I? How comfortable am I? And the goal would be to stop eating when you are moderately full, when you are at about a 7. So if you get to that 7, then it's time to stop. Because the other thing you need to think about and keep in mind is it takes about 20 minutes for your brain to catch up with your stomach. So if we eat quickly, we may overeat because our stomach doesn't realize it's full. Our brain hasn't caught up to our stomach. So if we slow down and we assess ourselves as we go along, we can not overeat by just this simple technique. Remember the scale, 1 to 10, how hungry am I? Switching then to how full am I? When I'm on a 7, time to stop. As I was just saying, slow down. Eating more slowly actually allows you to savor each bite. We want to chew our food, we want to taste it. And slowing down, eating slowly, it's going to tune us more into our fullness or our hunger, as I just mentioned on the scale. If we slow down, we're more aware of what we are actually consuming and how our rate of fullness. So slow down. It also allows you to enjoy your food so much more. A recent 6-year study of about 60,000 people found that those who shifted from fast to slow eating had a 42% lower rate of obesity during the study period than those who continued to eat quickly. Remember again, it takes about 20 minutes for your brain to realize that your stomach is full. Slow down. It's not a race. Stay focused on your meal, on your food. Anything that distracts you from concentrating on your food, such as the television, checking social media, having your phone, looking at your phone while you're eating, even reading, or even a really lively conversation, can lead to mindlessly overeating. Have you ever been in a situation where you're just talk, or the other person's talk, and you're just eating and you're not paying any attention? Before you know it, your meal is gone and you haven't even noticed what you ate. And if we're paying attention to something else, like it's really not a good idea to eat in front of the TV. We tend to eat very mindlessly when we're in front of the TV. If you have the big bag of chips, you're sitting on the couch, before you know it, the whole bag is eaten and you weren't even paying attention to what you ate. So be in the moment with your meal. Pay attention to your meal. It's a good time during this season, the holiday season of high stress and high demands and obligations and commitments and expectations. It's easy to get overwhelmed and stressed. A nice technique that you can try is to practice active listening. Whether this is at the table or when you're just with someone sitting down having a conversation, decide that you're going to really pay attention to what they're saying. Do you know how often that in our minds we're rehearsing what we're going to say before the other person has finished talking? It's like, oh, yeah, I can't wait to tell them this or this or this or this. And so we're not really hearing what they're saying. We're thinking about the future. We're anticipating what we're going to say. So we want to be present, fully present in that conversation. So a great time to practice this is at the holiday get-togethers or at the table when the family is together. You can try it out and you might be surprised by how rewarding it can be. Practice understanding the complete message that people are conveying. Look at their body language. You're listening to their words, you're watching their actions and their body language. And you might be surprised how it helps you connect and be able to relate and be compassionate in the conversation. So practice your active listening. And if you're actively listening while you're sitting at the table, it's also going to shift your attention a little bit away from focusing so much on the food. Now, that sounds like a little bit of a contradiction, but if we go to the table ravenous and it's the big Thanksgiving feast and all we can think about is, can't wait to eat all this food. But if we slow down and we have some nice conversation going on, we can actively listen and then we can mindfully eat. So it's practicing both techniques, both skills. During the holiday season, try to be open to the emotions of others. People get stressed, they might express a variety of emotions. If you can actively listen and be open to whatever they're feeling, you'll be more in the moment. Try not to judge, just listen. And I think you'll find the interactions will improve. I think it's really important to be open to your own emotions. Holidays, we have this fantasy of this perfect season with the beautiful lights and the trees and hot chocolate and presents and sleigh rides and ice skating and romance. It's the fantasy that the media creates, the TV shows, the Hallmark Channel. It's all happy, happy, happy. But in reality, it's a very short time and it's a very compressed time with a lot of expectation, a lot of obligation. There's shopping to do, presents to get, gifts to wrap, meals to cook, special meals to cook, families to visit with, parties to go to, so much. And it's really, oh, and your house has to be decorated perfectly and you have to get the tree and get it decorated. And it's all very exhausting and overwhelming. And if we set our standards so high to be perfect, it's a lot. It's a lot. So be open to your own emotions. The holidays can bring up many emotions. Perhaps you've lost a loved one and it brings up grief and sadness. Perhaps it brings up anger and frustration and loneliness. Give space to yourself for these emotions. Don't try to just shove them away or stuff them away with food. Take some time and say, I am feeling this way. I am feeling sad. or I am stressed, or I am just exhausted. And sit with it. Make a little space for it. Maybe journal a little bit. But if you can tune in and acknowledge it, accept it, I think it will help you to cope better throughout this tough season. We just don't want to go to comforting ourselves all the time with food. I want you to key into your cravings, okay? Rather than trying to talk yourself out of a craving, allow yourself to explore it. Cravings are simply body sensations. When we try to resist or ignore the cravings, they tend to get stronger. So, again, that idea of sitting with what you're feeling, you don't have to act on it. But let's say it's 2 o'clock and you're having a crazy sugar craving for some chocolate at 2 o'clock. And it's probably because you have formed some kind of habit, and you have to sit with it and say, okay, I recognize that it's 2 o'clock. I recognize that I'm having a craving for sugar. I'm not necessarily hungry, but I'm just wanting some sugar. So sit with it. Kind of think about, how does that feel? How's it feeling in my body? Take a few minutes and ask yourself, what's going on? What's triggering it? Is it just a habit? Or maybe you had a tough interaction at work and you're like, oh, I could just use some candy bar to make myself feel better, or some chips. Why is that going to make you feel better? Because it's a temporary reward. It tastes good on the tongue, but it undoes all the good work that you've been doing. So it's okay to look at that food. Maybe you get it out. If it's a candy bar and you get it out and you sit at your desk and you look at it and you smell it and you think about it, then you take a few deep breaths. You think about why you're doing this program, what your goals are, what your why is. And then I want you to make a mindful decision. Do I want to go ahead and eat this candy bar? Or that was just a craving. It's not on my plan. I'm sticking to my plan. So I'm going to put that away. It's going to go away. If you choose to eat it, at least you'll know you're making a conscious decision to eat it rather than an unconscious one. You're being mindful. Okay, you're paying attention. At least you're making a conscious decision rather than an unconscious one. Sometimes if you just walk away from it and distract yourself for 15 or 20 minutes, the craving will go away and you'll get past it. So that's another technique besides taking a few breaths. Decide, okay, yes, I'm having a craving, but I'm going to go for a quick walk. I'm going to go just change my environment, go into a different room. Maybe I'm going to get on my phone and look at Facebook for a few minutes to distract myself. And then if you give it 10 or 15 or 20 minutes, the craving should have gone away. So you just have to develop some ways to distract yourself from the craving. Okay. Whatever you're eating, whenever you're eating, we have to learn to be mindful with what we're eating. So I want you to savor the bites. Slow down. Really smell your food. We often don't smell it. Smell it. Look at it. Chew your food slowly. If we eat slowly, again, we'll have time for our stomachs, our brains to catch up with our stomachs, and we'll get some signals that we're starting to get full. Chew slowly. Don't gulp. Chew and enjoy every bite. Enjoy it. Don't take the next bite till you've swallowed your bite. I just want you to eat it with a heightened awareness, savoring and appreciating each bite. Research has shown that much of the enjoyment of the favorite food is in those first few bites. So maybe you don't need to have more than just a few bites. If you take time to focus on the sensory experience of those initial bites, you may find your craving is satisfied without overindulging. You just have to slow down. This is a very fast paced society. Slow down. During this season, it's helpful if we can think about letting go of old habits or patterns that might be holding you back. Holidays come with traditions, memories. Sometimes those old patterns perpetuate negativity. It is very easy to fall back into old patterns, familiar patterns. Have you ever felt like when you go back to your childhood home, you and your siblings quickly fall back into your old childish patterns, the quarreling, the looking for attention from the parents? Before you know it, you're back and you're 10 years old again. So easy to fall back into that, even though you're a grown adult. Maybe you get annoyed because your father tells the same story over and over and over again at the dinner table. Or if you're in a work environment, maybe you get anxious around a coworker because they're always trying to be the center of attention. This is the time to start paying attention to those thoughts and feelings as they're happening right then and there. If you're annoyed with your father at the table, stop for a minute. Think to yourself, why am I so annoyed? Why am I so annoyed right now? Maybe I could find a little compassion that he's so happy to have the family at the table, and maybe he's forgotten that he's told the story 100 times and it's an important story to him. And you could say, okay, I know this is a little annoying, but it's okay. It's dad. We're all together. He's going to share the story. Let it go. Let it go. Try noticing the thoughts and feelings, again, that are happening right now. Be curious about it. Think about to yourself, why is that triggering me? Try not to be stuck in the thoughts or the feelings from the past. And when we get together with family, boy, is it easy to go to past wrongs, past hurts, but it's the past. You can't change it. And often during the season, we worry about the future. What's it going to be like when I get the whole family together? Is everybody going to get along? Are we going to have fights? Am I going to have the right presents for the right people? We're worrying, we're stressing, we're thinking about the future, but it hasn't gotten there yet. So just come back to where you are right now. Tune in to where you are right now. Trying to balance all of the should-haves or the shoulds, the things that I need to do. We operate on all these obligations. We're always trying to please everyone. So we have to try to find some balance with that. If we spend our whole holiday season trying to please everybody else, we're going to get resentful, we're going to get angry, we're going to burn out, or we might flare up. So again, think about what you really need to get done instead of trying to plan the perfect dinner or get the perfect gift. Lower your expectations a little bit. Think about what's really going to make someone happy. Is it that the whole family's together at the table, or that it's the most perfectly decorated, most perfectly prepared meal that's ever been created? I think people just want to get together and enjoy some nice food and connect. It's about the intimacy. It's about the relationships. So think about these expectations and how it may be hard on you, how it affects you, and take some time to nourish yourself, make some space for yourself, make some rest for yourself. Don't make yourself so wound up that you may have the perfect table, but you're miserable doing it. And then your misery might make everybody else miserable. Practice some self-compassion during this season. Don't forget to take care of yourself. Be good to yourself. Be kind and gentle with yourself. We're so often so hard on ourselves, trying to live up to this fantasy season. Recharge so that you can take care of others. You know what they say on the airplane? If we're running out of oxygen, you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you can put it on others. Isn't that right? You have to take care of you so that you can take care of others. If you get sick, if you go down for the count, and you're the primary caretaker. Wow, that's really not going to be good. So you have to take care of yourself. If you are taking care of yourself, you may find it possible to be kinder and more giving to others, more compassionate. So we want to keep it in the holiday spirit. This season is about love and relationships and connecting and intimacy and gratitude. Let's remember that. That's what's so important, the gratitude. Be grateful that you have a family to get together with, or friends to get together with, or loved ones, or coworkers. Be grateful that you have food on the table. Okay, I just now want to review these mindfulness tips. Okay, and if you have any that you want to add and contribute, I would really appreciate just comment below. I want you to think about understanding your body, when to start and stop eating, okay? Paying attention to your body, that idea of that scale of 1 to 10, and you stop eating at a 7 when you're at a 7 of fullness. Are you physically hungry, or is it habitual eating? I always say, if you tell me you're hungry and I hand you a tomato and you say, I don't want that tomato, I really want a chocolate bar, you're not hungry. You're having a craving. If you are hungry, you take that tomato out of my hand and you devour it. That's another way to check yourself. If you're like, oh gosh, I'm so hungry, I think to myself, well, do I want a tomato? No. Do I want some cookies? Yeah. You're not hungry. That's the craving. And then do your craving strategies. Distract yourself for 20 minutes, drink some water, go into a different room, and you will have made some progress on your craving. And then if you do decide to eat it anyway, make sure it's a conscious choice. Are you savoring every bite of your meal? Try small bites, slow down, chew your food, chew it. And I also say, set your table so that it's beautiful for yourself. If you're really that hungry and you're having that craving, to get the table set, nice dishes, get a nice glass out, nice table placemat. And by the time you get that all done, are you still having that crazy craving? Or you can slow down and eat mindfully. Some people eat with their non-dominant hand. So if you're normally right-handed, try eating with your left hand. That will slow you down if you have a tendency to eat too fast, just gulping it down. Make sure you swallow the entire bite before you take the next bite. Again, eating in a pleasant environment. Even if it's just you, you can make your table pretty. Don't eat in front of the TV. Make yourself eat at the table. Get yourself some flowers in a pretty vase, pretty dishes. Slow down, enjoy every bite of your meal. You could play some nice music, have some candles, even a pretty wine glass with water and lemon. Make yourself feel good. It doesn't have to be a deprived feeling, even if we're following a weight loss program. So lots of mindful strategies for over the holiday season. I would love for you to share some of your ideas for being mindful, or some of the triggers or stresses that you typically have to deal with over this season, and how you might shift that. We have to be aware, we have to be conscious of what's happening to our bodies, to our souls, to our eating patterns, to our minds, and slow down, be in the moment, tune into yourself. And I think you'll find that you'll have a much more successful holiday season. Remember your plan and your approach. Next week, we're going to talk about Thanksgiving Day. It's the pre-game show. And I have some surefire tips for you to help you make it through that day. Whatever your approach is, and I hope you have your plan. Iron Will approach, 1 day, 1 pass. Have that approach ready, written down, made a commitment with your coach, your accountability buddy, or just with yourself in the mirror. Write it down, because we're getting close. So next week, tune in for surefire Thanksgiving Day strategies in our pregame show. It's going to be a great class. Don't miss it. And I hope you all have the best week. Have a great week. And I love you, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in.